Hey everybody, Erica here. This is week 4 for my midwifery 6124 class and my portfolio. So this week we were supposed to actually do some exercises. Like if you're by yourself, then it's more like you're planning to do this with people. If you're in an organization or in a community of people that are willing and able, you do this with them. Right now, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I'm locked in with my program, and since I kind of put a pause on my doula work right now, I am doing this to plan for when I launch my company Matri, even though it's like launch, but I mean get more people on board. Does that make sense? I hope so. So we were supposed to utilize a tool called the MCAT, which stands for the Member Association Capacity Assessment Tool. Unfortunately, the International Confederate Midwives Association, I think that's right. Maybe they don't have an A. The International ICM, they removed it from their website, and I couldn't find it except it was sourced and cited in different articles, which is fine, but that doesn't give me information so much on what it does. So I decided to find something else. I decided to find the tool that is, let me find it. Sorry, I'm on my laptop. Monitoring and Evaluation Capacity Assessment Toolkit. Like, this had 2 different versions, which I was a complete fan of. They have an individual level and they have a capacity level. So for me, the benefit of that in future, if I do it now, right? But like the first step is to do the desk review. And I was like, desk? Don't they know we work remote? Did you catch that? I know that was funny. But all that means is pretty much everything that's in your database or data room about your organization, any documents, any like your mission, your pillars, the financial documents, the MOUs of memorandum of understanding with different organizations. This this helps paint a picture on what your goals are. And then this is evidence showing like what you're doing. And I really appreciated seeing it in this way because I feel a lot of organizations don't do this. And since my organization is to really connect clients to their midwives, doulas, lactation consultants, community midwives, or community health workers, this will be really helpful to me to stand 10 toes down and be responsible and accountable to what my mission actually is. That was a lot. Let me give you a second to take it in. Second is over. Thank you so much. So, sorry, I have to adjust my seating. Let me see. So that was really helpful. Like going through this, I look forward to diving deeper when I have a lot of those documents filled out and completed for my organization. I believe I have some of them, but I don't have any MOUs yet. Powerful word of yet, right? Not yet. And yeah, it just helped me start planning and seeing it from a really equitable and being about your business perspective, which I appreciate because many organizations operate but aren't sticking to their mission. You know, they kind of start to sway off to the side instead of like constantly being accountable. So based off of the MECAT, MEACAT, this document or this evaluation that I'm looking at, yeah, MECAT. I would, when there's more than just myself and another person, I would ask like a trusted, so say, let's back up. Say if it's just myself and one more person, like my CTO, Chief Technology Officer. I would ask somebody else, like maybe like a mentor or something, to do it for us, to be our third party. And then as the business grows, I would then get a third party that is in really no association, that they specialize in evaluations, just so there's no bias. Like I really don't want people to spare my feelings with what I'm doing. I want my work and my purpose in my work to be reflected in the outcomes and interventions. That makes sense. Perfect. And along with that, I was reading My Girl. We had options to read Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, but I got this as a gift. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can read this for class. And I love Stacey. She's about that business. You know, to be in Atlanta, you got to be about that business. And let me just read a couple of quotes that I have written down on my computer from this chapter that really resonates with what we're doing in this accountability, I don't want to say test, accountability document. So this part talks about, sorry, I need to find it. This part talks about information and access, and it can come from like so many different sources, which is funny because if I'm doing an evaluation, I kind of want this information from a mentor. Wouldn't think that my mentor would guide me in this way. Like, no, that's not what I would go to a mentor for. But seeing how they can be utilized in this space, this could totally help me see my business from the outside looking in. Like, I would start with a mentor first because they kind of have an inkling on what I'm doing, maybe, hopefully professionally, and then go to the third party source with a person that has no idea about me, my business, didn't look me up on LinkedIn, doesn't know my resume or any of that stuff, which could, eliminate as much bias as possible. And that's what I would need. So let me read the quotes. She said, confronting issues of access requires that you know where to look for the workarounds or how to create your own. The second part, entry means discovering the passwords to get inside. Man, as a person who is creating a tech that is being built to shift systems, this access, this quote, it ignites the fire. If I'm a gas stove and I'm on low, reading this quote and remembering how I get kept out or how different organizations talk about what they're doing in maternal health and infant health, but also not really utilizing the community. This quote right here relates to that because I'm trying to have partnership with these people, and there feels like there's so many barriers, and it feels, I want to say impossible, but it feels like a decathlon. I don't desire to do a decathlon anytime soon, but that's what it feels like. One more thing that kind of relates to that to help me bridge Matry and grow Matry. Another quote. This is on page 68. It says, one key approach to cultivate relationships with those who have information and are typically ignored. For example, I am genuinely engaged with the supportive staff wherever I work. I'm going to do that with my organization. Like, if it's just me and this person, I'm going to be genuinely engaged with this person, with the stakeholders and people who are in contract, or if I do an accelerator program before the contracts and the pilot programs happen, I want to be engaged with these people so I can really hear feedback and really have that open source of communication. So it's like a feedback loop. I want it to be a positive feedback loop. And one more source that I looked at this week. This is an article by, because I take notes in different places, don't judge me. We had to read an article this week titled, Where Are We Going With That? Use transformational goals to measure racial equity work. Matry is racial equity work. So I was like, let's dive in. By Rinku Sen. And the goals, she has goals that relates to her topic. But I was like, how can I relate these to Matry and what I'm doing? So what I came up with was expose racial disparities in maternal health. Did that by creating the app. Another one is identify and hold systems accountable. This can be the hardest part because sometimes I feel it can hurt me or help me, depending on how I come at these organizations. Like, again, y'all say that y'all want to help your community engage or whatever, but you're not partnering with some of the communities who have created the solutions. I think that was one of the greatest hypocritical actions that is constantly occurring in the nonprofit world. But we will save that tangent for another day. Another thing is leverage Matry insights to scale. I would love to leverage Matry's like improved response outcomes with Medicaid in Ohio, with Harris County in Texas, which is, where Houston is, that, or any place that has the lowest Black maternal vitality rates. Remember, I'm not saying Black maternal mortality anymore. Lowest Black maternal vitality. I want to leverage what my app can do based off of what they're looking for. And I'm ready. I have all the documents. I have the attitude and the outlook, the positive outlook. And two more things. Center participatory real-time data collection. This will be my pilot programs. I'm centering that as soon as graduation, a month after graduation is over, because I need a little bit of a break. And then lastly, build cross-system alliances. So I want to connect to healthcare systems, different community organizations, public health agencies, and policymakers to address maternal health holistically. Also be a speaker at some of these places so it can get what I'm doing out there in real life. I really enjoyed reading her article because it helped me brainstorm not so much a research article like traditionally, but an article that helps guide me and I can relate and shift what I'm doing for that information to be applicable, right? That was a lot. But again, if you want to read this with me, read it, because you need to lead from the outside anywhere. As a parent, as a community member, as a family member, if you have a job and you work with people, remote, whatever, boop, 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 boop. We need sources. Why not learn from the OGs? And she's an OG. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.